Hello, everyone, and welcome to the weekly Oracle Wisdom. My name is Natalie Sadie, for those of you that are tuning in for the very first time. I hope that you're all having a wonderful week and that this full moon has treated you well. I myself am exhausted. I feel like I can't get enough sleep and I'm ready for bed right now, and it's 8:54 p.m. So let's get into this reading and see what the cards have in store. So just to let you know which decks I'm using today, I'm starting as always with the Ascending Life Oracle by MahrukhX because it's my favorite deck. The Spirit Animal Oracle, Colette Baron-Reid, is coming next. And then instead of talking about shadow work this week, we have the self-care wisdom cards because, can I tell you, I don't have the energy to think about shadow work. So I figured, after speaking to a whole lot of people in my life, that they're probably feeling the same way and you all might be feeling the same way. So I thought, let's focus on self-care as opposed to all the hard work, because there's always plenty of time for shadow work. I know it's an ongoing process, but everyone's allowed to have a break. Okay, so let's get into this. And the reason we're doing the Spirit Animal Oracle is because I filmed a really interesting interview earlier today. It'll be out next week with the director of Springbank Honey in New Zealand, talking about bees and hives and everything that's going on with all of them. So I was feeling in a bumblebee kind of mood today. So hence tuning in with the animals. Okay, so the first card is the Devil: addiction problems, excess, obsession, dependency, materialism, bad financial habits, and what do you know, shadow self. So maybe that's the universe telling me that we should actually be pulling the shadow cards, shadow work cards today, but you know what? No, absolutely not. So let's see what comes out next so that I can get a better understanding of why we're getting the Devil. And look, I feel like this is, with this really heavy full moon and with it being the second full moon in Capricorn, this is more about addiction and excess. When we're feeling depleted, when we're feeling sad, when we're feeling just exhausted with everything, it's very easy to self-medicate, and it's not the time to be doing it. Of course, if you've got more energy than me, doing the shadow work is always a good idea. I don't think that work ever stops, but I also think that there is a time where you can take a break and just breathe and do the self-care. And I knew when I woke up this morning, the self-care deck was what we needed to finish with. Okay, so good news: messages, texts, phone call. Someone has something to say, needing to communicate clearly, be open to listening. So if somebody is trying to tell you something, make sure you listen. And maybe it's not necessarily good news for you, but great news for them. So I think it's a time to be gracious with yourself. I think it's a time to be gracious with everyone around you and celebrate in any good news that comes up. The full moon often brings endings and completion of things, which can be difficult. We've talked about this for the last, I think, couple of months. And while there is an incredible power in letting go and having things close, because it allows space to open up for new things to come in, it can be really difficult. So at a time where, if you're feeling really heavy and somebody's calling to share great news that they have, make sure you're open to it. Okay, so the past. Feeling nostalgic, mentally reliving the past, the return of past lovers and friends, the return of a past situation. So we're in pre-shadow with Mercury at the moment. I don't think we've officially entered the shadow period. Maybe I could be wrong, but it makes sense that the past is starting to come back up. We've got Saturn and Neptune already retrograde, and often whenever we've got planets retrograde, it's bringing things back from the past to finish things up, tie up loose ends. Again, makes sense with the full moons that we've just had. But I feel like if you're lost in a bit of nostalgia, totally fine. It's beautiful to go back to those memories. When I started the interview with this guy Stephen today, we were talking. He had this beautiful picture of a bumblebee behind him when we were filming, and I was telling him how my dog was named Bumble after Bumblebee. And so he and I went on this whole big tangent about our dogs and the funny things that they do and all the weird random stuff. And can I tell you, it was an incredibly beautiful moment in a couple of days that have just felt like such a grind. So there's nothing wrong. Just don't get stuck in the past. If people from your past are coming back, sometimes it's a great thing to have these people reappear and you get to reconnect and you get a whole new sort of relationship with them. Just don't get caught. Don't get caught up in the devil with all of that. So if it's an ex, don't get caught up in the sex and all the excesses that came with that ex, because it might be fun in the moment, but it's not where you want to stay. There's a reason why these things are in the past. We're all guilty of going back every once in a while just to sort of see what's there, see if something is still there, and it can always feel really good, but generally we end up exactly where we were when it all fell away previously. Now, past friendships and things like that, sometimes they can be really great coming back up. Sometimes people just need time and distance. One of my best friends in the world and we had probably a 10-year gap in our friendship, and one day randomly we got in touch with each other, and we've been as close as we ever were ever since. It was just we both had our own journeys and paths that we had to walk down before we could sort of get to this space where we could sort of continue the journey together. So, and maybe that's the good news that's coming in. Travel, long distance travel, waiting to waiting to escape, a new adventure, a journey to the next level. So I feel ironic that travel's coming up in a week where we've had the major computer outages. Certainly people that are traveling with Delta are having all sorts of issues with that at the moment. But maybe there's an opportunity coming up that'll come up out of the blue, or maybe it is that you're dreaming of escaping. I know I am. But I'm actually going on a trip in October, and I am counting down the minutes until that happens. But just be open to what's coming in. And if an adventure opportunity appears, and it doesn't necessarily need to be a long journey, because the line "a new adventure" keeps popping up or like jumping out from the card. So when I see that, I just sort of think it might be that a friend calls and says, let's go here, and it's a couple of hours away, or it's somewhere you can go in a car. It's still a trip. It's still away from home, but just say yes to the adventure, because that opens up so many new things. It shifts the energy. It shifts the stale energy from just sort of sitting there stagnant and unmoving, and just getting out and going somewhere new. It just breathes new life into what you're doing. It opens you up to new people. And also just new ideas, I think, come in when you're shifting the space that you're in. Okay, this card's been coming up a lot in these readings, and this is a deck of 100 cards. I mean, the chances of this coming up again. Waiting game, waiting for something or someone, expecting to hear news, putting your life on hold, prepared, ready, and waiting. So, are you waiting on somebody? I almost feel like it's time to stop waiting. Go on that adventure. Maybe it's a matter of you saying, right, this is where I'm going and this is what I'm doing. I will say my trip, part of it is with some other people, and then the rest of it is me going out on my own because I wanted to go and explore somewhere new that I've never been. And so that's what I'm doing. In the previous weeks, when this card has come out, I've said, sometimes we have to wait on other people for different things to come through, or maybe you need to just sit and be still. I feel like the time to wait is kind of done. If there's something you want to do, it's time to stop waiting. It's time to move. You can see where the sun is shining from, and it's time to get up and actually start things moving on your own. Because the reality is, if we're always waiting on other people, you can wait forever. Years ago, I wanted to go and do a dance class, and everyone kept saying, I'm going to come with you. I'm going to come with you. And I was like, great, great, great. And then I kept calling everyone, let's go, let's go, let's enroll. And nobody wanted to do it. Just wait one more month. Just wait a couple more months. Just do this. And I hit a point where I went, I'm done. I'm just going to do it. And can I tell you, going and starting those dance classes changed my life. I met some of my best friends in this entire world, and I'm grateful for them every single day. And going on your own on these adventures, you're more likely to interact with other people and strangers, and that's how you bring new people into your life. If you're constantly surrounded by so many people that you create this closed aura around yourselves frequently. So to me, it's time to stop waiting. Burnout, having too many irons in the fire, not taking care of yourself, lack of control, all work, no life. So again, I feel like this comes back to the waiting game. It can be exhausting when you're sitting there going, okay, I'm just waiting for this. I'm just waiting for this. I'm just waiting for this. And it's almost as if you're treading water. And, we do that when we're waiting for something. We're waiting for rescue. We're waiting. We're just waiting. It's time to be done. It's time to put yourself first and decide what it is you want to do. Almost, I don't know, is something going to come up where you go and visit somebody from the past? I'm just looking at the cards laid out. I'm going to pull one more of these, and then we'll move on to the Spirit Animal Oracle. I feel like it's time to take charge of your life. You make the decisions. Boredom. Bored of daily routine, waiting for more out of life, longing for a change, constrained by circumstances. So to me, that's confirmation that what I'm saying is correct. We're burnt out because we're waiting for somebody, and this is where it's time to shift. So the moment you make the decision to stop waiting, travel, adventure, something, like it's time to move, essentially. And the reality is there's a feeling of freedom when you're on an airplane. It's that I'm up in the air, I'm free, I'm going somewhere. It's as close to being a bird as what we're ever going to feel. Well, maybe not, maybe paragliding. This is as close as I'm ever going to get to feeling like a bird, because I am paragliding, let me tell you. And I feel like when you start to shift things, that's when your good news will come in. I think I feel like this whole reading, starting with the Devil card, it's more about like I said at the very beginning, how we're coping with this full moon. Are we wanting to self-medicate or do something that's maybe not the best, maybe going back to our past and finding comfort with somebody, which will bring us joy and pleasure in the moment, but may not be the smartest thing to do. So just be aware of that. Be aware of what your shadow self is trying to tell you to do. Because listen, sometimes we can be encouraged to do things that are not the smartest, but we know that in the moment it's just going to give us that feeling of relief. So be aware of that. Try to avoid that path if you can. And if you can't and you're just being pulled down there, don't judge yourself. Just acknowledge why you're doing it. Go in with your eyes wide open so that you don't end up hurt or in a bad spot. But I feel like it's all good news if you start to take charge of your own life. Stop waiting on other people. Stop using waiting on other people as an excuse to not do anything, because I feel like that can become a crutch for us really easily. And we're the ones that have control and decide over what we're doing, when we're doing it, and how we're doing it. So Sandpiper Spirit, be playful. So even though the energy is a little bit heavy at the moment, I think we need to remember to be playful, to shift this full moon energy, to move and to become, I don't know, a little lighter and bring joy back into our lives. I think it's very easy when the energy feels as heavy as it does right at this moment to get lost in that, or to sort of sit and wallow in it. Again, you're in control. So be playful with the people around you, with your animals, whoever it may be, or just don't take yourself too seriously. Cow Spirit, the miracles are endless. I always love this card. I love the cow with her crown of flowers on there. I would love to be able to put a crown of flowers on a cow because they're just like big giant puppy dogs. To me, this is, again, the fact that it says the miracles are endless. You're in control of your life. You get to decide. So if you decide that you're going to shift things and you're ready to travel or go on an adventure, that's you making the decision to shift everything. And the universe loves a stubborn heart. So if you go, this is what I'm going to do, the universe will reward you. So trust that. Every week I say we have to trust, but it's the reality of the moment. And I was just talking to a friend when I was on my way back home, and I was telling her to trust because she doesn't like what the universe is giving her at the moment. And she goes, you don't understand. And I had to point out some things that I have going on where I'm waiting and I'm trusting that the universe will provide. And she acknowledged that I was telling the truth, and you just have to go with it. And when you do, she always catches you. Nightingale Spirit, love is all around. You are completely supported. So everything that you are trying to do, it's surrounded by love. The universe has you. I feel like these are all really just confirmation cards. Let me pull one more, and then we're going to move on to the self-care wisdom cards. Okay. Grasshopper Spirit, take a leap of faith. So I love that all of our animals are wearing crowns at the moment. So, okay, forgive me because I don't really know what a sandpiper looks like. So I don't know if that's a crest or a hat. And I don't think I've ever noticed this before. I'm just going to open. Okay, so no, not all the animals have crowns, but for some reason, every single one of these cards, these animals are wearing crowns. So you're the king or the queen of your own life. That's all I kept hearing. So that's what I'm going with. The grasshopper is telling you have to take the leap. So if there's something you want to do, whether it be big or small, and so maybe the adventure isn't necessarily going on a trip or an adventure in the literal sense of getting on a plane or getting in the car and going somewhere, but maybe it's an adventure like the dance class that I did. You're going and doing something that is out of your wheelhouse and putting yourself out there in a space that feels scary for you because it's a space where you might be judged or you're self-conscious because you're doing something brand new, but it's an adventure. But where it's going to lead you is exactly where you're meant to be. But in order for the universe to give you all of those gifts, you have to take the leap. So, all right, so let's pull a couple of these. So self-care card. Oh my gosh, I can't even speak. Shine. Don't dim your light. The world needs your unique talents and gifts. Shine brightly. So again, I feel like this is just a confirmation of everything I was just saying. If you're going into something, sorry, I've got the fan going, so it keeps moving these cards, and that's why the focus is a bit all over the place. But when you go into these new experiences, whether it be a dance class, a fitness class, an art class, just go in and be you. There is nobody else on this earth that is like you. So you have to trust. Sorry, I'm not doing a great job today. You have to trust that you are enough and what you're doing is perfect. So allow yourself to be in that position where you can just be yourself and you can shine, because it's all you need to do. And honestly, when you try and be like somebody else or do something the way somebody else does, that's when we screw up and it doesn't fit, it doesn't resonate with everybody around us. But when you do it your way, all of a sudden people start responding and the right people start responding. Okay. Beauty. Today you are a curator of beauty. You are blessed with moments that let you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that all is well in the world. Trust the beauty that is around you. It's very easy to stop seeing the beauty that's around you in terms of the trees in bloom. You know, we're in the middle of summer, so there's so many flowers that are still blossoming on the trees. Some of it is just the petals on the ground with I think it's the wisteria, or is it the jacaranda trees, the purple petals. I love seeing those petals all over the ground. I don't know what it is, and it's see all of that beauty that is around you. And maybe on a really crappy day or a day where it's hard and you're just feeling heavy and exhausted, you go outside, you take a breath and you see all of that beauty that exists in nature, and you're able to go, look at everything that's around me. Look at what the universe has created and provided for me. And that can shift your mood. The other thing is allow yourself to be your perfect and beautiful self. Okay. All right. I was going to pull one more card, but apparently we've got three. So we're going to rapid fire. So we've got Sovereign. You are the queen of your life. Treat yourself like royalty. So there you go. I said that with the Spirit Animal Oracle, that you're the king or queen of your life. So that's confirmation of that one. We have Move. A long walk is good for the soul. Get outside. Allow Mother Nature to lift your spirits. Everything that I was just saying. So there's confirmation of that. And the last one is Self. if beating yourself up worked, you'd be thin, rich, and happy. Try loving yourself instead. So I'm just going to end it with this card, again, confirming everything that I said earlier in this reading, in that you have to trust that because there's only one of you on this earth, you need to be the most authentic version of yourself. And that's what will resonate with everybody. And if it doesn't resonate with someone, they're not your people, and that's totally fine as well. So I feel like this is a week all about us as individuals in terms of taking care of us and what we need and doing what's right for us. So moving these things forward. If somebody's saying, please wait for me, and you're just sitting there going, you know what, I've done enough of this, I don't need to wait anymore, then it's time to just move on and just do the things that you've been waiting on these other people for. So keep that in mind. Go on the adventure, or at least take the first step on this adventure, whatever that may be, and be gentle with yourself. The energy is so freaking intense right now. And, I should be working tonight. When I am done with this reading, I am going to sit down, I'm going to have something to eat, and I am going to bed, because that's what I need today. Tomorrow's a new day and I can get all that work done. So be kind to yourself, while also just pushing yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone so that you can bring so many new and incredible things in to your life and into your world. I hope this resonated with some of you or all of you. As I always say, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I will be back next week with the Weekly Oracle Wisdom. I'll obviously be at High Vibe on Friday with David doing Full Disclosure, and I can't wait for that, because what a week it's already been since last week. And as always, Anne, thank you so much for all that you do. Have a great week, everyone.